Candidly, you can only do so many slow motion shots of a drill or of a lawnmower slinging grass, and it becomes disinteresting. But there are so many people out there using our product that are very interesting.
Welcome to IndustrialSage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is IndustrialSage.
All right, so for today's episode, I've got a really awesome story I'm going to share with you. I was on Facebook a couple weeks ago and came across this really cool video series called Artisan Series by Kobalt Tools. This is an amazing marketing tactic that they're using to reach their customers by sharing their stories. And guess what? They're not saying, hey, you need to buy from us because we're the best and the most amazing thing. They're engaging their community and they're getting a lot of benefits out of it. So you don't want to miss this episode. I'm Danny Gonzalez and this is IndustrialSage. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in today's episode. We've got Jonathan Bradshaw, who is the product manager at Kobalt Tools. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us remotely from Charlotte today.
Yeah, it's beautiful here in Charlotte. I appreciate you having us.
Excellent. So for those who are not familiar with you in the audience, if you could please introduce yourself, tell us a little about you and Kobalt Tools.
Sure. So I am the product manager for Kobalt Tools. So I'm responsible for a lot of the details that go into the products, designing stuff for our end user, but also how to go to market with those products and making sure the messaging is what we need it to be to communicate that. Cobalt is a 20-year-old brand, but it's also a private brand, which belongs to Lowe's part of the store portfolio. We've been around. We're about to celebrate 20 years here in about 2 months, and we're very much focused on user experience. So what makes Cobalt unique in the market is we're building really tough tools, serious tools for serious jobs to get the job done. And we're designing it in a valuable way, something that is very intentional for the customer, very comfortable to use, but at the same time a tremendous value. So Kobalt Tools really focused on the user experience, from ergonomics to durability. Everything that it goes into the customer using the tool is what we're focused on, that end user to have a serious tool for doing serious work.
And that's awesome. And so I just want to share with the audience a little bit how we found you. So how you guys are dialed in on that user experience. I was very impressed. I came across the Artisan series that you have. So it's a video series you guys have posted on Facebook, and I came across it. I'm a newly minted private pilot. I'm super excited about that. And so I'm in all these different Facebook groups like Private Pilots of America or whatever. And so somebody had posted one of the videos that you guys had done in the Artisan series, and it was actually on a guy who was building a kit plane. And so naturally I just was like, oh, I got to watch this. This is awesome. And then I realized later, oh, this like, who's doing this? This is brought on by Kobalt Tools. And I thought, this is awesome. These guys are doing it right. What was awesome to me was that you guys were talking all about your customer, and it was sharing their story, and there was nothing like, hey, get Kobalt Tools today from Lowe's or whatever. There was no, it was all about that customer, and it was telling a story, and I said, this is awesome. And so I reached out to you guys on Facebook. I was like, oh, we totally need to bring these guys on. I just want to hear about all this. And so for the audience out there, that's how we found you guys, and it's just awesome.
Well, yeah, what we like to think makes us unique at Cobalt is we start with the customer in mind, right? So our designers are intently focused on the customer experience. Our engineers, our quality folks, everyone. When we talk about our tools, we talk about the customer and then the tool that meets that customer's need. And when we were discussing ways to go to market, we're a large brand for Lowe's, but we are a private brand, so we don't have the large marketing dollars that everyone else has. So. We rely on some of the bigger brands to bring customers into the door. So we don't have to worry about that. Now it's, okay, how do we communicate to that customer? And one of the things that we like to show is all right, what is our customer doing with our tools? What are they using them for? And as we started to search out some artisans and stuff, we heard about Randy with the plane. We got people who build furniture out of reclaimed wood and do all kinds of different things. But the goal of it was if you notice, there's not a lot of product shots in there. I mean,
Right.
we're going to get our product in there. Obviously, it is there to represent the brand. But, out of a 4-minute video, there's maybe 20 seconds of total product shots. And it's really about the user and how they're using our tools to enrich their lives, how our tools are making their projects better. I mean, building an airplane is a serious thing, right? Once you go up, you got to come back down.
Yes.
The plane better be for you. So you better have some real tools and to put that together and make sure that you're doing it the right way. And, Randy was already using our products. We found him through our social media. And that's how we find all of our artisans.
And I think there's another great element of that. It says you found him through your social media, so you guys are obviously active on that channel. Now I know, listen, a lot of our subscriber base, we're focused on B2B, but there's a lot of lessons to learn. I know this is B2C, but we're seeing this this transition. There's a really great story that came out of a study that Google did back in 2015 when they found back then 3 years ago. Or 3.5, depending on when in 2015, that nearly 50% of B2B buyers were millennial. 3 years later, I'm guessing that it's 50 or more at this point, and that's a big lesson. So Caterpillar latched onto that, took their campaigns and totally changed it. Now Caterpillar's, they're not B2C, they're gonna be B2B. They're selling these giant, tractors and stuff, and they went to go tell more stories to bring in a more human element, and that's exactly what you guys are doing there. So I don't want to hear any of this. Oh, B2C, B2B. It doesn't matter. We're selling. You're selling to other humans. You're having that
right.
conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the best way that we've kind of approached it or thought about it is if your marketing is your blockbuster movie. I mean, you're going to have your action shots, and you're going to have all that stuff that. We have a series called In Motion, right, where it shows all of our tools in like super slow mo. It's really cool.
That's
it's
awesome.
Really specialized stuff, but it doesn't tell a story. And for any movie, whether it's a blockbuster or a drama, whatever, you got to tell the story of the people who are using the tools. And candidly, you can only do so many slow motion shots of a drill or of a lawnmower slinging grass, and it becomes disinteresting. But there are so many people out there using our product that are very interesting. Nobody shoots 4-minute long form commercials because you're not going to hold a customer's interest that long.
Right.
But we can shoot videos because the stories are interesting and we can, tell the story of our customers. And if we happen to sell some more tools from it, cool. But, this really isn't designed to be a viral thing. It's just really to connect with our customers and, show them that we're here for them and that we're part of their story and we get them and we understand them. And, that's what we're trying to convey with the Artisan series.
That's awesome, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. So kudos on that. Talk to me a little bit about the inception. Thanks. Like, how did you guys come to that realization, saying, "Hey, we need to do this"? Did you just jump out right? Hey, we're going to do all these episodes. What did that look like?
It starts with where we're at with our marketing dollars or in our company, right? So, we're part of a large Fortune 40 retailer, right? And we're a large part of what we do in the categories that we participate in, but we're still overall a small company, within it. But we do have autonomy to operate, and so we had to look at ways to spend our limited advertising dollars, and connecting with the customer seemed like the most important part. So what we noticed in the tool world and across the board is that social media wise, there's not a lot of connection between what they're putting up on the screen and what the customers are interacting with, right? So not getting a lot of likes, not having a lot of followers, and their customer response times also no good. So we developed, we're less than a day in response to our customers. We have over 10,000 followers on Instagram, not a ton, but it's in the tool world, it's actually quite a bit. And we're really proud of that. So we're engaging with our customers that way. We find we get a lot of really good product ideas or product improvement ideas. As someone who's a product manager, I'd rather someone who's using this tool every day or every weekend during doing their job or their hobby or their passion to tell me how to make it better. You're the real life engineer, and so we go with that and we learn from it. And then the decision was, okay, how do we in return show our customers who else is using this tool and what else these tools are capable of doing? And so when you start to get these submissions online and people are like, hey, check out my garage. I have everything in the Cobalt series. I've got I've got toolboxes and garage storage and lawn equipment and hand tools and power drills and all kinds of stuff. And so the customer starts to show you like, here's what I'm proud about with my Cobalt. And then you start seeing people like, they'll tag your, Kobalt Tools in a project that they used. And that kind of got it started, right? So you see someone and they made this beautiful table, this beautiful reclaimed wood table, and they used a couple of different Kobalt tools and they just tag you in it. And you're like, well, I didn't make that table. Cobalt didn't make that table. You did.
Yeah.
But they felt like the brand was part of their project, right? We were along for the ride, whether we signed up for it or not. And we signed up for it by selling them a product. And so then we kind of that was kind of the manifestation. And we kept going with the idea of, getting these artisans and seeing how people every day use our products.
That's awesome. And I there's so many lessons in there. There's so many takeaways that I have anyways from that, that I think the first thing is that, yes, you were engaged socially, and you were listening. So, and being open to the ideas. I think it's awesome that you were discovering all these different use cases and all these different things, what people are doing with these tools. And I think that's a huge takeaway for other companies to be able to think, hey, we may think, especially I can imagine as a product manager, it's like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to develop this product because over here, this is how it needs to be used. And it's, no, we really need to listen to, what our customers actually, what they need and what they want. I mean, you see so many times that a product is developed and because we think it's a really cool idea and it's great and it can do all these things, but the market, they don't really want it. They want this over here. So I think that's just an awesome lesson that you're listening and then engaged in that community. You're helping to build that. And if you didn't have that, I mean, I don't know that you would have been able to take this as far downstream as you have.
Right. And the customer, or for most of your audience, the other businesses, right, in the B2B world, if you're offering something nobody needs, you're not going to move it, right? It's not going to. So let them tell you what they need first. Right. And then, and you have a solution or you can develop one for them. So that's definitely the approach we take when we're developing. It's extremely customer centric.
That's awesome. So what pieces of advice would you have to a brand that's saying, you know what, we're thinking we kind of want to, toy around with doing something like this, or maybe we want to toe dip, what piece of advice would you give?
Crawl first and then walk and then start sprinting. So, you use the term dip your toe into it, but, allocate some money, spend a little bit of resources differently and just, figure out how you want to talk to your customer and learning about what's important to them. And then, when you start walking, you start realizing like, okay, this is how the two-way conversation works between you and your customers. And then from there, you learn how they're using your products. You learn what they're doing with your stuff, and if they're modifying them, and if they're taking, or if they're using them as designed, or if they're holding them a different way that you didn't imagine they would ever do, but it happens to work. And then you run, and by run I mean you create content they're interested in looking at. You create ways in which they can interact with you in their brand, and the biggest challenge in retail, and I feel like it's also in any business-to-business situation, is you got to meet your customer where they are. Like, it's no longer about them coming to you and trying to find solutions, and it's no longer about them necessarily coming into the brick and mortar store or reaching out to you via your phone number or your email. You got to go find them where they are. And so if they're out on Instagram, I got to go find them on Instagram, and if they're out in Facebook world, then that's where I got to go. Yep. And that's the biggest thing is crawl, walk, run, try something, do something different. And then, and then continue to expound and learn and be willing to change. I wouldn't jump into it with some huge grand strategy, because a year ago, the Artisan Series wasn't on our radar. It wasn't something that, anybody had thought to do or that we were really going to engage in. It was more of, we were doing product shots and do that kind of product focused marketing, and the Artisan Series was a departure for us, and it's been really successful. We've gotten a lot of engagement from it. Customers comment. We've been shared hundreds of thousands of times. And then also the cool thing about the Artisan Series is the customer stays there, so they watch the whole thing. Yeah. You're staying in there and they're watching the whole video. And so even though there's not a whole lot of brand exposure to it, we're engaging and we're getting their attention for a longer amount of time. And as anybody who markets knows, that's one of the biggest challenges is how do I get my stuff in front of you long enough for you to learn about it?
Yeah.
And if you make something interesting that's engaging, like you're into, aviation, and you found a video on aviation, and you stayed and watched the video to the end,
Totally.
to the point where you're going to engage with us, and that's how you found us, right? And that's what we want to do with each one of our customers. And, we're going to continue the series into this year and work into different parts of the country and different, fields of use. And now we're running. So we crawled, we walked, and now we're off to the races.
That is awesome. Such great feedback. I actually, you touched on a couple different elements that we've actually had in a couple episodes recently, finding, going to where your customer is at. And that's such a big thing right now. You're talking e-commerce or, the brick and mortar retail, the omni-channel approach, that is changing constantly. And, it's interesting, the whole B2C buying experience is the way that people buy B2C they're expecting they want that same experience B2B. And that you're seeing those worlds really come together. So, kudos, congratulations on what you guys are doing. You guys are doing fantastic. Listening to the customer, responding to it. You said a really big thing about engaging them. That's a big thing on like YouTube metrics, for example. It's not about view count, how many views you can get. It's how long will people actually engage with that content, and that's where it's all go. SEO, all that stuff. It's all about the content and engaging. So, congratulations. So. We have, obviously, we've talked about this Artisan series. We'll put some links in the show notes. If you're listening on iTunes, we'll have those there. If you're obviously looking at the website, we'll have those there. You can take a look at that. If anybody has any questions for you, what's the best way they might be able to reach out and contact you?
Well, social media, of course. So you can reach us at Instagram is at Kobalt Tools. Twitter also at Kobalt Tools. Okay. Facebook, look up Kobalt Tools with a K and Odyssey, and you'll be able to engage with us. And we try to respond as quickly as possible. So that's where we're at, and that's where we live.
That is awesome. So okay, well, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us on IndustrialSage. I really enjoyed the conversation, and best of luck with the continued success that you guys have. Thank you, and I appreciate you reaching out, and I hope you enjoy the next round of Artisan series that comes out. So we can't wait to see it. Art looks awesome to me, so hope you'll watch it. Absolutely. All right, well, that was another great episode. Listen, if you've not checked out the Artisan series from Kobalt Tools, you totally need to do that. So all the links in the show notes, if you're listening on iTunes, you can totally check it out there. On the website, you'll have it there. Listen, a lot of major takeaways, so many. One big notable piece is being engaged in the community, building that community, being part of it, and listening to what customers are saying, telling their stories, not so much yours. That's a huge one. And Kobalt Tools is really reaping a lot of benefits by doing that. And don't be like, oh, well, they're B2C, we're B2B. That's coming together. Remember that study that Google did in 2015 and how Caterpillar found it. So take these tips, take that advice. If you're thinking about doing this, which you should, remember, don't sprint. We're going to start crawling, then you're going to walk, and then you sprint, all right? So thanks again for watching this episode. If you like it, we'd love that engagement on social media. Share it, like it. If you're listening on iTunes, we'd love a rating. And if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them for you. You can reach out to us, industrialsage.com/questions. We'll answer them on the show. And as always, I'm Danny Gonzalez. Thanks for watching. This is Industrial Sage. Do you have a solid digital marketing content plan? Or do you have questions around that? Well, listen, we've got a really great, free, awesome tool for you. It's our Digital Marketing Content Planner. It's a download that is a very comprehensive plan on how to take all of your digital marketing content, look at your personas, look at your calls to action, look at your strategy, and take everything that you have on your whiteboard or maybe in your head and really crystallize it and put it together in a very actionable format. So if you're interested in this, you can go to industrialsage.com/digital-content-planner, and you get access to this free tool, and we'll even send you a 10-minute free guide on how to walk through and set it up.